morning. This is the August 18, 2015 Longview Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I am Frankie Parson, and I am covering for the chairman, Lonnie Murphy, who couldn't be here this evening. We welcome all of our participants. This meeting is now called to order. We will have the invocation brought to us by Commissioner Ronnie Rice, and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone stand, please?
May we pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today thankful for the day you've given us. We're thankful to be part of the city of Longview. We ask your blessings upon us. Bless our meeting, bless our community, bless our country. Amen. Help me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our July the 21st Planning and Zoning meeting. I'll ask the commissioners if they have any corrections. None being heard. I'm sorry, did you?
Page 5, spelling of a name, but that's it.
All right, we have the spelling of a name on page 5, and you'll give that to Sharon afterwards. With that correction, I ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented with one correction.
With the one correction.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We have no consent agenda item tonight, so we will move directly into the regular agenda. The purpose of this meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and in opposition to the applications before the board. Tonight is the first of 2 public hearings required to approve a change in zoning. The board also considers plats. The procedure for public hearing items to be followed tonight will be: the public hearing will be opened and testimony will be heard in the following order. Number 1, the applicant. Number 2, staff. Number 3, the general public. That would include those in support and in opposition to the request. If you are part of a large group with a common interest, we ask that you appoint a spokesperson rather than having each individual restate the same information. When addressing the board, please begin by stating your name and address, and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing on the matter will be closed and no further public discussion will be entertained. After each public hearing is closed, the board will vote on the request. Zoning requests and the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation will go forward to the second public hearing, which will be conducted by the City Council on September 10, 2015. Moving forward on regular agenda item A, it reads as follows. Staff, is everything okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Have I left out anything? Thank you.
No, ma'am.
A public hearing will be held to consider application number S15-01, filed by Death Sheehan for a specific use permit, SUP, for a restaurant with a drive-through window in general retail, GR, zoning district for Lot 3 and Lot 4, Block 4 in CB 420 in Sunnyland, located at 1805 and 1807 South Moberly Avenue. Would the applicant please come to the microphone and tell us about your project? Do we have a spokesperson for agenda item A?
My name is Sydney Ortiz, and I'm a representative or a contractor for my client, Date Chan. And what she's wanting to do was...
Excuse me, would you restate your name again and your address?
Sydney Ortiz, 220 Windy Acres Avenue, Longview, Texas.
Thank you.
75602.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now tell us about your project.
I'm the contractor
I
for my
understand.
client, Date, and she's wanting to open a donut shop. And with the donut, she's wanting to, in order to purchase the building, it needs to have a drive-through window. So she's wanting to renovate that building to accommodate that request as far as a drive-through window.
All right. Staff?
Thank you, Chairperson Parson. The applicant is requesting a specific use permit for a bakery with a drive-through window in general retail zoning. A specific use permit, or SUP, is required for a restaurant with a drive-through service within general retail zoning to ensure no negative impact on surrounding properties. Mauberley Avenue is a minor arterial, which is appropriate for this type of use. Staff finds that the proposed SUP is compatible with the surrounding zoning, and as you can see up here, there is a site plan that shows the drive aisles with the parking spaces and the window here at 1807 with her drive-through lane right here and then a pass-through lane right here.
Thank you. Is there a spokesperson from the general public who is in support of this agenda item that would like to speak? Thank you. Hearing none, is there anyone that is in opposition? Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm not in opposition. Are the cuts on the street, the sidewalk, and the cuts, curb cuts, are they already there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No public spokesperson. I'll ask the commissioners for any questions, comments. I have one question. Will you keep the very mature tree that's there at the front of the property?
Yes, they will.
Okay, thank you. Any further information? The hearing is closed. I will now entertain a motion to
A motion for approval?
Second.
have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It did pass. Thank you. All right, agenda item B, a public hearing will be held to consider number Z15-15, filed by RHE Investments LLC, requesting a rezone from multifamily MF2 to general retail GR for lots 1 through 8, Block 2, Ware Place, located on the east side of High Street, south of Marion Drive and north of Jewel Drive. Would the applicant please come forward and give your name and address?
My name's John Harris, 1100 Judson Road, Suite 400. I'm speaking in support of this change to general retail for the owners to build a convenience store like a couple of others they've done around town, which are a credit to the community and will certainly enhance the tax base in that area of town. This is immediately north of the Buckner development, which is under construction as we speak.
Okay, Mr. Harris? Staff?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a rezone from multifamily to, here in the purple, to general retail to build a gasoline station and convenience store. Through the site plan review process, staff will ensure all requirements are met, including buffering between the adjacent residential properties seen here to the east. High Street is a principal arterial roadway, which is appropriate for this type of use. Staff finds that the proposed zoning change is consistent with the future land use map and surrounding uses. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Tell me where Buckner's is building right now.
Buckner,
I mean, somewhere
sorry.
close.
Yeah, Buckner is just to the south. They're this,
Okay,
this block right here, facing High Street.
okay.
And this is just a very, very preliminary layout that they provided staff.
It's zoned general retail across the street and has been for a generation or more.
I do have a question of clarification. Part of that plan appears that the construction's going to occur on the corner with some vacancy remaining back toward Buckner. Is that the case?
Yes,
And what is that?
undecided at the moment. They are buying the entire frontage of that block, I'm sorry.
My question is, in your development, the trees that's separating the frontage and the, in between the housing on the street behind you, will you be removing those trees, or you know how far in installing this convenience store?
This lot is, this pretty well cleared, but I don't know, there is a large buffer, and Angela can tell you how many feet that is, and I don't think those trees will be removed at the back of the lot, but I don't know that.
I don't know whether the trees are going to be removed or not, but we only require a 10-foot buffer, and it appears that these trees are pretty far into those lots. So,
It's definitely more than 10 feet.
yeah, it's definitely more than 10
Do we
feet.
figure it's
I think it's pretty far in, almost like 40 feet in. So they probably will remove them based on this very preliminary sketch that the developer provided. It looks like those trees are gone.
Angela, also, do you know anything about whether it would be required to have a sidewalk there, because that's pretty busy and everything, and I know we hadn't had that come a
I
lot,
think there's a sidewalk.
but I don't see anything.
I think there's currently a sidewalk
I think
on
it
that
is.
section. of
Yeah, I think there is too. I think there's a sidewalk right here on this side.
Is there a restriction on the number of feet that can be between a school and a place that serves alcohol?
It's
Definitely.
300 feet, but that's typically door to door. And that's measured through, our police department usually does that, but it's not from property line to property line. It's actually from the front of door to front of door, and it's 300 feet.
And would this meet that?
It will be outside of that because the school is further south, and so they're outside of that 300 feet.
Any further? I would like to say about the trees that if there could be an effort made to save some of those as part of the buffer, that would really be appreciated.
Okay. Point well taken, thank you.
Do we have any general public comments? Is there anyone here that wants to speak in support of this agenda item? Can you come to the microphone, please, Jeanette? Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Mullen. I live at 909 Lacey Street, and my home is directly adjacent to this lot.
Okay.
And we were here for a fact finding to find out what was going to be put there, and it's a convenience store with a gas station. We are opposed to that because on the next block on Nelson Street, there is a convenience store and gas station, and there are people that loiter there all the time, and it's kind of scary for me to drive through their area. And we already have enough things happening in that area. We have gunshots being fired late at night, and I'm just hoping that the bullets don't reach my house on Lacey Street and come through the window. Last Sunday morning, I heard gunshots early, and I just think if there's a convenience store that sells alcohol, it's not going to be safe for us. My house has already been robbed once, and there are 3 single elderly ladies like I am on that street, and I'm just concerned, and especially if you take down the trees, because right now the trees buffer our houses. You can't see our houses, and in the summertime and the wintertime, you can kind of see a little bit of it. So please consider not approving this rezoning request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, may I speak, please?
Yes, you may.
My name is Janice Grayshaw, and I am a member of the Longview Comprehensive Committee, and I have really worked for development on the South Longview. I, too, am concerned about the buffer. I am for the development for the store, but I am concerned for the residents in that area. I would like a buffer with the trees, perhaps a fence if possible. but I am for growth in Longview, but I also want to make sure that the neighborhood is protected as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
And with buffering, Ms. Shaw, we do require at least a 10-foot buffer, and we do require either a solid wood masonry or solid vegetation screening along the property line. And we do require 2 trees per 100 linear feet within the buffer area.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
To Jeanette, Ms. Jeanette, have you actually looked at what was proposed, the type convenience store? There's a diagram they have that they can put up
Yeah.
and show you.
Now granted, this is just for informational purposes.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is,
If rezoned general retail, anything under that zoning category could go there.
yes,
But that is what they're
proposing.
just to be clear.
To kind of, I've had questions, and that's what I know, is, if I may, I think something similar to, like, if you take Avalon going east to Green Street, make a right. You know the latest convenience store that they installed down on the left there? Down below, what's the Mexican restaurant? The convenience store down on the left is convenient, gas station, phone, and all that.
And I think this picture
This
right
picture
here,
if you can see.
this is the last one that Dr. Roberts has built, and this one's at the corner of Highway 80 and Loop 281. And he proposes to build something similar to this.
Any other questions or any other public comments? What are the operating hours, is the question?
I'm not sure, we don't regulate operating hours.
Please understand that we are approving or disapproving the zoning. We're not approving the actual construction and type of business with this vote today. We appreciate your comments and certainly invite more if you have more. This is your opportunity. Commissioners, do you have any additional input?
Whatever's going to be built there will be real well lit, so that would probably help some, especially for the security of the area and everything. You know.
Did you hear that? It would be well lit, or that type of a facility would be well lit. I do have a question about the buffer. Is the buffer just on the backside?
Yes, it's just on the backside adjacent to that residential.
Okay.
Where it's adjacent to this residential right here, that's where the buffer will go.
Mm-hmm. And that's only how many feet? 10?
10 feet. Mhm.
Okay. Any additional questions, comments? If not, the hearing will be closed and the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion for approval for application Z15-15.
Second.
And we have a second? We have a motion and a second for item B. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. There was no opposition. All right, item B is closed. We'll move on to item C, Agenda C. A public hearing will be held to consider application number PD 15-10, filed by Kenneth R. Black, requesting to rezone approximately 1.362 acres of AB 177 William Robinson Survey, TR 23-03, Section 3, from Planned Development General Retail, PD 04-12, to Planned Development General Retail for an ATM located on the east side of Gilmer Road, south of Hawkins Parkway. Would the applicant please come forward?
Good evening. My name is Brady Bedingfield, and I'm with RLM General Contractors. We're at 315 Enterprise Street here in Longview, and I'm representing Mr. Black tonight as his construction manager.
All right, Mr. Bedingfield. Tell us a little bit about your project.
Well, the location, if you're familiar with it, is in front of the Brookshire's grocery store by the, just south on the intersection of Gilmer Road and Hawkins. And right there's Brookshire's. The project is going to be to construct a standalone ATM building at that driveway for the Brookshire's grocery store. And it is one of the prefab ATM systems. It's 10-foot tall. It's very, very simple. So it'd just be a concrete driveway in and out and ATM machines. So.
And the total footprint on that, what's the measurements, do you know?
I know that it's 30 foot wide and probably 200 foot deep. The footprint of the ATM, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Sorry, that's, I believe
It's
that's
approximately,
8 by 10?
yeah, about 90 square feet approximately.
9 by 10, correct.
Thank you. All right, staff?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting to rezone 2 Plan Development General Retail to allow for an ATM for Citizens National Bank. The Plan Development Site Plan proposes an ATM that'll be approximately 90 square feet in size with 3 stacking spaces, approximately 3 stacking spaces within this new drive aisle. The ATM will have a monument sign not to exceed 100 square feet in size and 10 feet in height. Through the site plan process, the applicant will meet all other City of Longview codes. Hawkins Parkway is a minor arterial and Gilmer Road is a principal arterial. Both roadways are appropriate for this type of development as long as access management is followed. This site will not have any additional driveways onto Gilmer Road or Hawkins Parkway and will utilize existing driveways leading into Brookshire's. Staff finds that the proposed zoning change is consistent with the future land use map and surrounding uses. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Is there any public comment in support or opposition of this agenda item? None being heard. Do we have any questions of staff? Any clarification? I'm sorry, of commissioners, not staff. None being heard. The hearing is closed. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
For approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right. Regular agenda item D.
I have to abstain on this item.
Our Mr. Richard Hurdle will abstain. Does that mean you leave or you stay?
Do I need to leave?
Yes, you
I
do.
have to? Okay.
We're sorry, we'll miss you. We will notify you when you can come back. Thank you. Item D, a public hearing will be held to consider application number PD 15-11, filed by Richard Purtle, requesting a rezone approximately 0.961 acres of AB 262 A Jordan Survey T-Trace 6.02, Section 1, from Plan Development Single Family, PD 14-04, to Plan Development 2 Family, located on the west side of Eastman Road, north of Dennis Drive. Would the applicant please come forward?
I don't believe I see the applicant in the audience.
All right, we have no applicant to speak, so we'll go to staff.
Thank you. The applicant is requesting to rezone from Plan Development Single Family to Plan Development 2 Family. I believe we saw this zoning change last year. It is along US 259 Eastman Road. The applicant came before us to do a plan development for single family and has wanted to amend this, this plan development to allow for duplexes or 2 family instead of single family. Within this proposed PD site plan, he is proposing a 16 square foot or 1,600 square feet 2-family dwelling, 800 square feet on both sides, on each side, with 4 parking spaces. Everything else will stay the same. He will have a 30-foot front setback, 3-foot side setback, 10-foot rear setback. The lot size will be a minimum of 5,400 square feet. Eastman Road is a principal arterial, which is appropriate for this type of development as long as access management is followed. And as you can see on this site plan, he proposes just one driveway, one shared driveway with a shared access private street along Eastman Road. Staff finds the proposed zoning change is consistent with the future land use map and surrounding uses. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Angela. Do we have any public comments from anybody in the audience? If not, we'll take questions from the commissioners.
Going back to the question I had, Edwin, is there a situation where you can where we can request that sidewalks be put in? Because I know here there's not any sidewalks here, but then you're also talking about Eastman Road.
Yes, you know, through the plan development process, you know, we could request sidewalks, but this is, like you said, this is Eastman Road, and currently there are no sidewalks here. And I don't know where we would put the sidewalks. Let me go back to the, it's a pretty tight fit, and with the back of these lots, it slopes back some. That's why he has them kind of right at the setback. And he has 4 parking spaces, and they're stacked. So it is a little tight in the front. But that is a requirement that you could make.
I read somewhere in here that there would be 2 stories, 2 levels.
It would be allowed to do 2 stories. I don't think that's his intent, but he would be allowed to do 2 stories, which is typical for residential development.
It appears to back up to some residential lots behind it.
Yes,
At least
ma'am.
1 or possibly 2. Not all of that property does, I don't think. But you said that slopes to the back. What is the plan, do you know, for that area in the back where the trees are and that backs up to that other residential?
I guess, are you asking if he's going to clear back there? I'm not
Yes.
sure. With residential development, the only requirement we have for landscaping is that he have one tree per lot. And that's the minimum landscaping requirement for any single-family or 2-family residential. When we get to above 2-family residential, multifamily, and commercial, that's when we require quite a bit more landscaping.
1 tree per lot? Is that
Yes, that's
correct?
very typical for single-family and 2-family subdivisions.
They're small.
But each lot, the whole thing is a lot.
Right now, the whole thing is a lot, but he is going through the process to, if you look back at this, he's going through the process to subdivide these into 6 lots with 1 duplex per lot. So his final plan will have 6 lots.
Are these for sale or rental?
I'm not sure.
Any questions, commissioners? No? With no further comment, public or staff comment, the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, the same sign. It is approved, and you may tell Mr. Pirtle he can come back in. Thank you. Agenda item E, a public hearing will be held to consider number M1503, amending Article 8-107, Article 8-600, and Article 10-104 of the zoning ordinance to add a use, definition, and create parking requirements for self-storage mini warehouse. We have no applicants, so we have staff comments, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The planning and zoning staff is proposing amendments to the zoning ordinance to add the use, definition, and create parking requirements for self-storage mini warehouse. Currently, the zoning ordinance has a use under special industrial processes that is called storage warehouse. Staff has interpreted this classification to mean self-storage mini warehouse. This use has not been defined in the past, and nor has it had parking requirements. Therefore, staff is proposing to create this use within the zoning ordinance called self-storage mini warehouse, and to allow it by right in light and heavy commercial, central business district, light and heavy industrial, and planned development, and allow it with an SUP in general retail. Meaning if somebody wanted to go in general retail, they would be required a specific use permit and go before Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council for approval. Staff has proposed this definition for self-storage mini warehouse as a facility that provides separate storage areas for individual or business uses. The storage areas are designed to allow for private access by the tenant for storing or removing property. Accessory uses may include living quarters for the resident manager or security and leasing offices. Use of the storage area for sales, service, and repair operations or manufacturing is not considered accessory to the self-storage or mini warehouse use. Staff has also proposed a parking requirement for self-storage mini warehouse. One parking space for each 300 square feet of gross floor area for the office area. A minimum of 5 parking spaces required and must be located outside of the security gates and accessible to the public. If interior parking spaces are provided for loading and unloading, they may be included as parallel spaces between the fire lane and storage buildings. I would be happy to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Commissioners, any questions, comments?
Are we doing this just to clean up some of the ordinance?
We are, and we've had some recent inquiries into allowing it in general retail, so we decided to clean up the zoning ordinance a little bit and to allow those inquiries to be made to the Planning and Zoning Commission with an SUP in general retail.
And kind of a little history, over the since I've been here and even before, that classification in our zoning ordinance, I think, has been used and interpreted for self-storage units as well. I think the intent is probably like the big commercial bonded type warehouses, but since we didn't have a separate definition, we just, any kind of storage or warehouse fell under that very heavy commercial designation, and right or wrong in the past, that's the way it's been done. Also, the parking was dictated based on the total square footage of storage area, which was 1 to 1,000, which, if you're familiar with self-storage units, generally, they don't need parking. They need, drive aisle area for loading and unloading. They do need parking at the office area for that leasing traffic, but, and since we just went through the comprehensive planning process, kind of looking at our zoning ordinance and looking at areas to kind of modernize it and kind of look at what, in the past, these kind of had a negative connotation. You wanted them in commercial areas that are out and away from your residential areas, but self-storage is more of, more people have self-storage units, not on a temporary basis, but it's just a part of, that's where they put their junk, and they lease one and they have one for here on out. And so you typically want those closer to your residential areas. You want it more as a convenience. You don't want to have to drive halfway across town just to go store your stuff. You want it nearby as a convenience, kind of as a neighborhood service. And, they have very little traffic, very little noise. That's why we did have the language in there about the accessory, because we do have a couple that lease them out for businesses in commercial areas, and we've had problems with that. And so we wanted to make sure that that's not the intent. We don't want people renting them out for garage band practice, living quarters. We've had people try to live in them, or for auto repair services and things like that. We want them truly to be intended for a low-intense residential or light business type of self-storage. And to do that in general retail, because that's typically near residential areas. And by doing the SUP, That allows them to ask. It doesn't allow it by right. It allows the commission and council to consider it on a case-by-case basis where some areas it might be very appropriate, some areas it might not be appropriate at all, but it just allows them to ask.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have any general public comments from the audience?
Very good explanation.
Compliments to you, Michael. The commissioners, any comments, questions? All right. The chair will entertain a vote to approve.
So moved.
A motion to approve. I'll get this right eventually. Thank you. We have a motion and a second.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Thank you. That's the end of our regular agenda, and next is the staff update.
All items at City Council were approved.
Thank you. All items from the prior meeting were approved. Do we have any additional citizen comments? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your patience.